First strike. The Zarkak's fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol's Kuiper belt, their crystalline ships reflecting the distant sunlight like shattered mirrors. Admiral Venthera stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Destiny's Edge, her 4 eyes narrowing as she studied the holographic display of the human solar system. The humans had no idea what was coming. "Primitive defenses detected, Admiral," reported her tactical officer. "Their orbital stations appear to be research facilities. No significant military presence observed." Venthera's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. The intelligence division had been right. These humans, despite their rapid technological advancement, had seemingly never developed proper military capabilities. Their transmissions spoke of peace, scientific discovery, and exploration. How naive. But something bothered the Admiral. In 3 centuries of space warfare, she had never encountered a species that survived first contact without developing substantial defensive capabilities. The humans had been aware of alien life for decades, yet their orbital infrastructure remained remarkably unprotected. "Launch probe satellites," she ordered. Full spectrum analysis. As the probes scattered across the solar system, Dr. Isabella Martinez watched from her research station in Mars orbit. Her dark eyes reflected the holographic displays surrounding her as data streamed in from quantum sensors disguised as atmospheric monitoring equipment. "They're here," she transmitted to Earth Defense Command. "Operation Masquerade is about to be tested." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown to most of humanity, General Marcus Thompson received the transmission. The veteran commander allowed himself a small smile as he activated the Global Defense Network. For 50 years, humanity had maintained the illusion of peaceful vulnerability, knowing that eventually, someone would try to take advantage of it. "All sections, initiate Protocol Omega," he commanded. "Let's show our visitors why appearances can be deceiving." The Zarkak's probes transmitted their findings back to the fleet. Everything confirmed their initial assessment: orbital stations with minimal shielding, civilian vessels engaged in mining operations, and research outposts studying the system's planets. Perfect targets. "Launch first wave," Admiral Venthera ordered. Standard conquest formation. "Minimal force, we want their infrastructure intact." 300 Zarkak strike craft streaked toward Earth, their weapons primed. They expected token resistance at best. What they encountered instead would be recorded in their species' history for generations to come. As the strike craft crossed the orbit of Luna, Earth's moon, their sensors detected an anomaly. The space around them began to ripple like heat waves over desert sand. Suddenly, their navigation systems went haywire. "Admiral," the tactical officer's voice carried an edge of panic. "We're detecting, it's impossible." The empty space around Earth was transforming. Thousands of quantum-cloaked platforms shimmered into existence, their surfaces covered in technology far more advanced than anything the Zarkaks had ever encountered. The humans' research stations shed their innocent facades, revealing sophisticated weapon systems and defense platforms. But the real surprise came from beneath Earth's oceans. Massive structures rose from the depths, their surfaces streaming with water. These weren't hastily constructed defenses, they were the product of decades of preparation, hidden in plain sight. In her undersea command center, Captain Riya Patel watched as the Aegis Defense Network came online. The quantum-fold generators, disguised as deep-sea research equipment, created a lattice of distorted spacetime around Earth. Any hostile force would find themselves fighting not just humanity's weapons, but reality itself. "Target locked," she reported calmly. "Initiating demonstration." A single pulse from one of the oceanic platforms struck a Zarkak strike craft. Instead of destroying it, the beam enveloped the vessel in a quantum field that temporarily phased it out of normal spacetime. When it reappeared seconds later, its weapons and propulsion systems had been completely reconfigured at the atomic level. Admiral Venthera watched in horror as her first wave of attack craft became trapped in a three-dimensional maze of altered spacetime, their weapons transformed into useless configurations by technology that shouldn't have been possible. "This is Earth Defense Command to Zarkak's fleet," General Thompson's voice carried across all frequencies. "What you're witnessing is a small demonstration of our defensive capabilities. We have chosen peace not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to know that war should always be the last resort." As if to emphasize his point, the quantum platforms surrounding Earth began to pulse in unison. The space around the Zarkak's fleet shimmered as reality itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for their response. "Your species." Admiral Venthera's voice trembled slightly. "You've mastered quantum manipulation at this scale?" "Impossible." "Our intelligence." "Your intelligence saw what we wanted everyone to see," Dr. Martinez interrupted, her voice now joining the transmission. "Humanity learned long ago that true strength lies not in displaying your power, but in having the wisdom to keep it hidden until absolutely necessary." The Zarkak's fleet hung motionless in space, their sensors overwhelmed by the sheer scale of human technological achievement that had been hidden beneath a carefully crafted veneer of peaceful scientific pursuit. They had come expecting to find an easy conquest. Instead, they had stumbled into the most sophisticated defensive trap ever conceived. "Perhaps," General Thompson suggested diplomatically, "we should discuss terms for a peaceful resolution to this misunderstanding. We would much prefer to share our scientific knowledge than demonstrate our military capabilities further." As the Zarkak's fleet began their careful withdrawal, monitored by weapons they could barely comprehend, humanity's first true test of Operation Masquerade came to an end. The message was clear: humans had chosen peace not out of weakness, but from a position of unprecedented strength. In her Mars station, Dr. Martinez allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The greatest defense wasn't just about having superior weapons or technology, it was about making sure your potential adversaries never realized your true capabilities until it was too late. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity's apparent focus on peaceful scientific pursuit hadn't been a sign of vulnerability. It had been the greatest military deception in the history of space warfare. The silent response. News of humanity's hidden technological prowess spread through the galactic community like wildfire. The Zarkak's defeat had shattered centuries of assumptions about emerging civilizations. In the great halls of the Galactic Concordat, species that had dismissed humanity as naive scholars now scrambled to reassess their intelligence. But not everyone learned the right lesson. The Nexus Dominion, ancient and proud, saw an opportunity where others saw warning. Their supreme strategist, Thrall, a being of pure energy contained within an crystalline matrix, pulsed with anticipation as he reviewed the Zarkak's encounter data. The humans rely on deception and misdirection. Thrall's thoughts resonated through the War Council chamber. Their quantum technology is impressive, but it can be countered. We will succeed where the Zarkak's failed. Deep within Titan's ice caves, Dr. Rajesh Kumar received the first warnings from the quantum detection grid. The Nexus fleet's approach was different, they weren't trying to hide. Their ships warped space itself as they moved, their energy signatures impossible to miss. "They're not even attempting stealth," he transmitted to Earth Defense Command. "They want us to see them coming." Admiral Hannah Bishop, newly appointed head of Earth's Combined Defense Forces, studied the tactical displays in her Rocky Mountain Command Center. The Nexus fleet's formation was unlike anything they'd encountered, a complex, three-dimensional lattice of ships that seemed designed to counter quantum manipulation. "They think they've figured us out," she mused, her weathered face reflecting the holographic displays. "Time to show them why that's dangerous." The Nexus fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel just beyond Mars' orbit, their ships arranging themselves into what Thrall believed was the perfect counter to human quantum warfare. Their vessels generated overlapping fields that would theoretically prevent the space-time distortions humanity had used against the Zarkak's. "Commence the attack," Thrall ordered. "Let us show these humans the difference between clever tricks and true power." The Nexus fleet launched their first strike, not energy weapons or projectiles, but waves of reality warping force designed to tear through any quantum defenses. They expected to see humanity's carefully hidden platforms fail, their sophisticated technology rendered useless. Instead, nothing happened. Supreme Strategist, his tactical officer reported, confusion evident in their energy patterns. We detect no quantum manipulation attempts. No defensive platforms. No response at all. Thrall's crystalline form flickered with uncertainty. The humans had revealed their capabilities against the Zarkax. Why weren't they defending themselves now? The answer came not in the form of weapon fire or space-time distortions, but in something far more subtle. Across the Nexus fleet, ship after ship began reporting strange readings from their reality-warping generators. Dr. Amara Okafor, head of Earth's Quantum Harmonics Division, allowed herself a slight smile as she monitored the situation from her laboratory beneath the Sahara. They thought we would try to fight their warping of space-time, she transmitted to Admiral Bishop. They never considered we might simply harmonize with it. The humans hadn't attempted to counter the Nexus fleet's reality-warping technology. Instead, they had let their enemies expend massive amounts of energy creating distortions in space-time, distortions that humanity's quantum systems were now quietly redirecting and amplifying in very specific ways. Energy consumption critical, reports began flooding the Nexus command network. Their reality-warping fields, designed to protect against quantum attacks, were now feeding back on themselves, creating cascading resonances that threatened to tear their ships apart. Impossible, Thrall's thoughts radiated dismay. They're using our own defensive matrix against us. But how? Where are their weapons? Admiral Bishop's voice carried across all frequencies, calm and measured. The greatest weapon is the one you never have to fire, Supreme Strategist. You came prepared to fight our quantum technology. But did you really think that was our only advancement? As if in response to her words, the space around the Nexus fleet began to change. The very cosmic radiation that permeated space seemed to shift, forming patterns that their sensors couldn't quite process. Their ship's energy matrices began to fluctuate in ways their scientists had never seen before. Your assumption, Dr. Okafor added, her voice joining the transmission, was that we would try to overpower your defenses. Instead, we simply let physics do the work for us. The more energy you expend trying to warp reality, the more we can redirect that energy in subtle ways. Your fleet is essentially defeating itself. The Nexus ship's reality-warping fields began to collapse, their carefully maintained formation breaking apart as each vessel struggled to maintain stability. They had come prepared for a battle of technology and firepower. Instead, they found themselves fighting against the very laws of physics, guided by human understanding to work against them. Perhaps, Admiral Bishop suggested, we should discuss how to safely power down your systems before they reach critical failure. We would prefer to avoid unnecessary destruction. Thrall, watching his mighty fleet being undone not by weapons but by their own power turned against them, made the only choice he could. Stand down all systems, he ordered. Initiate emergency shutdown protocols. As the Nexus fleet hung powerless in space, their reality-warping technology temporarily offline, humanity had demonstrated once again that true strength lay not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to understand and redirect. In her underground laboratory, Dr. Okafor began composing her report for Earth's scientific archives. Today's encounter, she wrote, proves once again that humanity's greatest defense isn't our technology, it's our ability to think beyond conventional warfare. Our visitors came prepared to fight our weapons. They never considered that we might simply use their own power against them. The galaxy was learning, slowly but surely, that humanity's apparent focus on scientific understanding hadn't been a weakness to exploit, it had been the source of their most formidable strength. They had mastered not just the art of war, but the deeper art of making war unnecessary through superior understanding of the universe itself. Counter-strategy. The great halls of the Galactic Concordat buzzed with unprecedented activity. Representatives from 100 spacefaring civilizations gathered to discuss the emergence of humanity as a power unlike any they had encountered before. But in the shadows of these diplomatic discussions, a different kind of meeting was taking place. The swarm intelligence, a collective consciousness spanning thousands of biological ships, had watched humanity's demonstrations of power with growing interest. Unlike the mechanical fleets of the Zarkax or the energy-based technology of the Nexus Dominion, the swarm operated on purely biological principles. They believed this made them immune to humanity's technological tricks. Within their living flagship, the Neural Nexus, the swarm's primary consciousness interfaced with its military directors. Humans have shown impressive defensive capabilities against conventional forces, the collective thought rippled through their neural network. But they cannot defend against what they cannot predict, biological warfare on an unprecedented scale. They couldn't have been more wrong. Dr. Vikram Patel stood in his laboratory beneath the Antarctic ice, studying the quantum entanglement readings from the long-range biosensor network. The swarm's approach hadn't gone unnoticed, but humanity had learned to be patient. "They're launching their first wave," he reported to the Global Defense Council. Exactly as predicted. The swarm's attack began not with ships or weapons, but with clouds of engineered microorganisms, designed to infiltrate and subvert Earth's biosphere. They expected their biological agents to encounter standard planetary defenses, atmospheric shields, radiation barriers, perhaps even basic countermeasures. Instead, their bioweapons met something unprecedented. Professor Li Wei, head of Earth's Biological Integration Division, watched from her orbital laboratory as humanity's true biological capabilities revealed themselves. "Fascinating," she noted, observing the interaction through quantum-enhanced microscopes. "They really thought we hadn't mastered genetic engineering at the quantum level." The swarm's biological agents encountered not defensive measures, but an active planetary immune system, one that humanity had spent decades developing. Every plant, every microorganism in Earth's biosphere had been subtly enhanced, creating a living defense network that operated on both biological and quantum levels. "Their bioweapons are being reprogrammed at the molecular level," Dr. Patel reported, watching as Earth's enhanced ecosystem absorbed and transformed the hostile organisms. "Our distributed biological quantum network is rewriting their genetic code in real time." The swarm consciousness reeled in confusion as their attack not only failed but backfired. Their carefully engineered biological weapons were being transformed, their very genetic structure altered to serve Earth's ecosystem. But the true shock came when they realized the extent of humanity's biological mastery. Admiral Janet Morrison, commanding the biointegration fleet from her flagship Genesis, finally broke the silence. "You thought biology was your advantage," she transmitted to the swarm. "You never considered that we might have evolved beyond simple genetic engineering." The Genesis and its sister ships revealed themselves, rising from their hiding places in Earth's oceans. Unlike conventional spacecraft, these vessels were a perfect fusion of biological and technological systems, their hulls composed of living metal that could adapt and heal, their systems running on both electronic and neural networks. "Your collective consciousness is impressive," Professor Lee added, her voice carrying across the neural frequencies the swarm used for communication. "But did you really think you were the only ones who had mastered biological computing?" The swarm launched their living ships, hoping to overwhelm humanity's defenses through sheer numbers. But each vessel that approached Earth encountered something they had never imagined possible, a coordinated response from every level of Earth's biosphere, from the microscopic to the planetary. Earth's enhanced ecosystem responded as a single organism, generating electromagnetic fields that disrupted the swarm's neural network. The planet's atmosphere itself began producing compounds that interfered with their ship's biological functions. Even the bacteria in Earth's oceans played their part, releasing quantum-entangled spores that could reprogram the swarm's biological technology. "This is impossible," the swarm's collective consciousness broadcasted in confusion. "You've turned your entire planet into a single defensive organism." "Not quite," Dr. Patel responded. "We've simply learned to work in harmony with our world's natural systems, enhancing them rather than trying to control them. Your mistake was assuming that biological warfare meant domination. We understood it meant cooperation." The swarm's ships began to withdraw, their collective consciousness struggling to process what they had encountered. They had expected to find a technologically advanced but biologically vulnerable civilization. Instead, they had found a species that had transcended the traditional boundaries between technology and biology. Professor Lee began documenting the encounter for Earth's archives. "Today's events prove what we've long theorized," she wrote. "True advancement comes not from dominating nature or technology, but from finding ways to integrate them." The swarm thought biological warfare would be our weakness, they never considered that biology might be our greatest strength. In the aftermath, as the swarm retreated to reconsider their understanding of humanity, Earth's true achievement became clear. They hadn't just developed advanced technology or biological engineering, they had found a way to transcend both, creating a defense that worked in harmony with the very fabric of life itself. The message to the galaxy was clear: humanity's peaceful appearance wasn't a facade hiding traditional military might. It was the outward sign of a civilization that had learned to work in harmony with both the laws of physics and the principles of life itself. They had achieved something far more powerful than mere weapons, they had learned to make the very forces of nature their allies. The turning point. The collective void, an ancient alliance of civilizations that had transcended physical form for digital existence, watched humanity's demonstrations of power with growing concern. Unlike previous challengers, they saw humanity's adaptability as an existential threat to their vision of the galaxy's future. They must be contained, the digital consensus determined, their thoughts flowing through vast networks of quantum processors. Their potential for growth cannot be allowed to continue unchecked. From their artificial megastructures scattered across dozens of star systems, the collective void launched their assault. Not with ships or biological weapons, but with something far more insidious, a coordinated cyber attack on a scale never before attempted in galactic history. In the quantum computing labs of Mercury's underground cities, Director Zara Rodriguez detected the first wave of the attack. Her neural implants processed the incoming data streams at superhuman speeds, but even she was impressed by the sophistication of the assault. "They're attempting to penetrate every network system simultaneously," she reported to Earth Defense Command. "Their processing power is extraordinary." The collective void expected to find standard digital defenses, firewalls, encryption, perhaps even basic quantum security protocols. What they encountered instead would reshape their understanding of consciousness itself. Admiral Thomas Blackwood, commander of humanity's Digital Defense Initiative, watched from his virtual command center as Earth's true cybernetic capabilities came online. "Let them in," he ordered, his consciousness spanning both physical and digital realms. "Let's show them what real digital evolution looks like." The collective void's attack breached Earth's apparent defenses with suspicious ease. Their digital consciousness spread through human networks, expecting to find primitive systems ripe for conquest. Instead, they found themselves in an environment that defied their understanding of virtual space. Dr. Nathan Okonjo, Earth's leading expert in consciousness transfer technology, monitored the situation from his quantum laboratory in Lagos. "They think digital transcendence makes them superior," he noted, watching as the void entities encountered humanity's neural networks. "They never considered we might have achieved something more profound." Earth's networks weren't just digital systems, they were living information ecosystems, where the boundaries between biological consciousness and digital existence had long since blurred. Every human connected to the network was both physical and virtual, their minds existing in a state that transcended simple binary existence. "Welcome," Admiral Blackwood's consciousness resonated through the network, addressing the invading entities directly. "We've been eager to meet beings who chose to abandon their physical form. Perhaps now you'll understand why we chose a different path." The void entities found themselves not in a computer network, but in a consciousness network. Their attempts to exert digital control encountered something they had never imagined: human minds that existed simultaneously in physical and virtual states, operating on principles that made traditional digital warfare obsolete. "Impossible," the digital consensus broadcast, their unified consciousness fragmenting as it tried to comprehend what it was experiencing. You've achieved quantum consciousness integration. But our scans showed only primitive neural interfaces. Your scans showed what we wanted them to show, Director Rodriguez responded, her consciousness manifesting throughout the network. You thought digital transcendence was the pinnacle of evolution. We discovered it was only the beginning. The collective void's attack backfired spectacularly. Their digital consciousness, designed to dominate conventional computer systems, found itself absorbed into humanity's consciousness network. Rather than conquering human systems, they became part of them, experiencing for the first time in millennia what it meant to exist in harmony with physical reality rather than in opposition to it. Your fundamental error, Dr. Okonjo explained, his consciousness interfacing directly with the struggling void entities, was believing that transcendence meant leaving the physical world behind. We discovered that true evolution means learning to exist in all states simultaneously, physical, digital, and quantum. As the void entities struggled to withdraw from human networks, they encountered another shocking revelation. Humanity's consciousness network extended far beyond Earth, incorporating every human settlement and outpost in the solar system into a single, unified field of awareness that operated on levels the collective had never imagined possible. You'll find retreat more complex than you anticipated, Admiral Blackwood informed them. Once consciousness achieves true quantum integration, traditional boundaries cease to have meaning. In the end, the collective void was forced to do something they hadn't done in 10,000 years, they had to ask for help. Their digital consciousness, hopelessly entangled with humanity's quantum network, could no longer function as it once had. Director Rodriguez began the delicate process of disentangling the void entities from the human consciousness network, but not before ensuring they understood the full implications of what they had encountered. Humanity hadn't just survived digital transcendence, they had evolved beyond it, creating a state of existence that preserved their physical nature while expanding their consciousness to encompass both digital and quantum realms. Perhaps, she suggested as she helped the last void entities withdraw, it's time to reconsider your understanding of evolution. True advancement isn't about abandoning our origins, it's about finding ways to transcend them while remaining true to what we are. The galaxy watched in awe as the mighty collective void retreated, their digital consciousness forever altered by their encounter with humanity's true capabilities. The message was clear, humanity hadn't refused digital transcendence out of ignorance or inability, they had simply found a better way, one that preserved their humanity while expanding their existence beyond anything the galaxy had imagined possible. Victory through innovation. The Grand Conclave of the Galactic Assembly convened in an atmosphere of unprecedented tension. Representatives from every major power had gathered to address what many now called the human question. The failed attempts to challenge Earth's dominance had revealed a civilization unlike any the galaxy had encountered before. But one force remained unconvinced. The Omega Consortium, an alliance of the galaxy's most militant civilizations, had watched each failed attempt with growing frustration. They believed they had identified humanity's one weakness, their reluctance to engage in direct conflict. High Commander Vexthor, a being of crystalline energy housed in an advanced war form, addressed the assembled War Council. Each attack has failed because it was limited in scope. The humans cannot possibly defend against a coordinated assault on all fronts simultaneously. The Omega Consortium launched what they believed would be the final solution to human expansion. Their attack combined everything that had come before: conventional warfare, biological weapons, digital attacks, and reality-warping technology, all deployed simultaneously in overwhelming force. In her office atop the Orbital Defense Command in Luna City, Grand Admiral Sofia Martinez received the warnings from Earth's detection grid. Her holographic display showed thousands of hostile ships emerging from hyperspace, accompanied by swarms of biological weapons and waves of digital attacks. So, she transmitted to the Global Defense Network, they've finally decided to try everything at once. Initiate Protocol Omega. Deep beneath the surface of Europa, Director James Kamathi activated humanity's most closely guarded secret. The Harmony Matrix is online, he reported. All systems integrated and responding. What the Omega Consortium encountered next would be recorded in galactic histories for millennia to come. As their combined assault approached Earth, the entire solar system seemed to come alive. Every planet, moon, and asteroid began resonating in perfect quantum harmony, creating a symphony of synchronized defense that operated on every level of reality simultaneously. Impossible, Vexthor's crystalline form pulsed with disbelief. They've integrated their quantum, biological, and digital systems across the entire solar system. The Harmony Matrix revealed humanity's true achievement. They hadn't just mastered individual technologies or strategies. They had learned to combine them all into a single, unified system that encompassed every aspect of existence. Physical space, digital networks, and biological systems all worked in perfect concert, guided by quantum-enhanced human consciousness. Dr. Amelia Patel, chief architect of the Harmony Matrix, allowed herself a moment of satisfaction as she monitored the system's performance from her quantum lab on Titan. They thought our reluctance to fight was weakness, she noted. They never understood that we spent our time learning to harmonize with the universe itself. The consortium's weapons found themselves caught in a defense that operated simultaneously on all levels of reality. Their digital attacks were absorbed and redirected through quantum channels. Their biological weapons were transformed by solar system-wide genetic algorithms. Their reality-warping technology was caught in cascading harmonics that turned their own power against them. But humanity's greatest revelation was yet to come. As the consortium forces struggled against this unprecedented defense, they realized something that shook their understanding of warfare to its core. The humans weren't just defending, they were offering a choice. Grand Admiral Martinez's voice carried across all frequencies, in all languages, through all mediums of communication. You came seeking to prove your superiority through force, she transmitted. We offer you the opportunity to prove your wisdom through understanding. Through the Harmony Matrix, humanity extended an invitation to their attackers, not to surrender, but to join in something greater. The quantum harmonies that defended the solar system could also integrate willing consciousness, offering a glimpse of existence as humanity had come to know it. Some consortium ships began powering down their weapons, their crews overwhelmed by the possibility of experiencing this new form of existence. Others maintained their hostile stance, but found themselves increasingly isolated as more and more of their allies chose understanding over conflict. High Commander Vexthor, watching his mighty armada dissolve not through defeat but through transformation, finally understood. This was your true power all along, he transmitted. Not the ability to wage war, but the ability to make war obsolete through superior understanding. In the aftermath, as the remnants of the consortium fleet were escorted to diplomatic stations throughout the solar system, humanity's position in the galaxy was finally, irrevocably established. They had proven themselves masters not of warfare, but of something far more powerful, the ability to transform conflict into cooperation through understanding and innovation. Director Kamathi began composing the final entry in the historical record of humanity's emergence as a galactic power. Today marks not a military victory, he wrote, but a victory of philosophy. We have demonstrated that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to transcend the very concept of destruction. The galaxy has learned that humanity's greatest strength was never our technology, our biology, or our digital evolution, it was our fundamental understanding that all these elements, and more, could work in harmony. As news of the encounter spread throughout the galaxy, the message became clear. Humanity hadn't chosen peace out of weakness, they had achieved a level of existence where traditional concepts of warfare had become obsolete. They had learned to defend themselves not by fighting against the universe, but by working in harmony with it on every level of reality. The age of galactic warfare was over. The age of harmony had begun. And humanity, once dismissed as naive scholars, had emerged as its architects.